Hi everybody, Jo here again. How are you doing? So thanks for popping in again. And today I thought we'd have a little look at the Lavinia Acetate Circle Masks. And I'll move this out of the way because we do get a bit of a glare. I'm really sorry. You get 2 of the outy bits, which are very useful, and 3 of the inny bits. So 3 of these, 2 of these, they are so useful. So first of all, we'll just look at how we can make a moon. So I'm going to come in with a blue, and again, as always, I would blend in the lid. Non-slip matte, the lid won't move. Brushes are fabulous, always blend in the lid. For some reason, when we do this, the majority of us, I don't know why, I just like watching what we do, start at the top. Now, when you've got a lot of ink on, the colour will be darker. And if it's darker at the top for your finished project, it looks wrong. So what I've started teaching at workshops is if you turn your card upside down, so this is going to be the base, this is the top, and you hold the mask, and again, dab on the mask, and gently circular motions all the way around. And again, dab, start at the bottom, work my way to the top. What happens then, when I turn this round, if I've got more ink here and it's darker, it will just look like it's shadow under the moon. So that would be to create a sky. And this, you can either have it as a moon, or if you've got a large flower or a focal point here, you can actually spotlight that focal point and draw attention to it. Once you start using them, you'll have so many things you can do. Now, you can also create the sun. It doesn't just have to be the moon. So for the sun, I would recommend using the other piece, the outy piece. Put it where you want it on your work. This, I'm going to come in with Sundance and then a little bit of Russet Orange. So Sundance again, blend in the lid, it just becomes automatic. Now with my sun, I want this area to the darkest bit. So I'm always going to start when I ink up, even though it's the yellow, gently, and it's a gentle, hold the brush gently on the silver part here. Then work my way around. The thing to remember is when you first come in, you've got the most ink, so it will be darker. So again, start down here. And then when I've got less ink, all the way around. And I'm leaving a light piece here. And we're just almost going to add shade. So if I show you, can you see, you've automatically got darker and lighter. But what we can do, if I pop that back on carefully, I'm going down a size now, number 7, just because I want the ink a bit more concentrated. Start in the same area, but I'm not going to cover as much, look. I'm going to concentrate here. Last one. And then with that yellow, just to give that lovely blend. And then if I lift that up, look, you've got that lovely depth, that darker area and that lighter area. Now, the other lovely thing you can do is create a wreath like this. And what I'm going to do for this, put the outer ones back on, and I'm just roughly getting it in the middle. I'm going to come in with Pixie Green, blend it in that lid, and it's very much a blend. Again, gentle touch, start in this area. I tend to call it a corner, and then people remind me a circle doesn't have a corner, so... But the card does, I suppose. So when I've got the most ink down here, and then gently, just all the way around. It's quite therapeutic, this. It might put you in a trance. Just go all the way around. And again, obviously, it's like this. You can alter the colours up. Now this, I could leave just as an aperture and stamp inside. Just mask off and then stamp. And that's beautiful. If you need a card and you're not sure what to do, that in itself is a lovely thing to do. But if you want a quick wreath card, I'm just going to come in with the Oak Leaf Flourish. I can't speak. And I'm going to use Shady Lane, or Shady Lady as she's in my book. And we can use this look for our wreath. So if I look at this shape and I put that and that, can you see I can follow very easily the shape. And again, just turn the card. Now, it could be you want just an arch over the top. It could be you want part of a wreath here. And again, so many options. Now look at that. That's just with the Shady Lane. But I went in again, the same stamp. So again, if you've only got a couple of stamps, but I used Golden Meadow. So see how easy that is. Again, you can start off, but then add a little bit more. Oh, I keep saying it, so many possibilities. There are so many things you can do. So I thought it's nice to have a finished design. So my main focal point for this, I've gone for wet wings. And I can use the acetate to see where I'm going to stamp. VersaFine Clair Black. There. Now, so I'm going to stamp that. So I'm going to hover. Happy with that. Press down. Give it a good firm press. Keep one hand on the stamp at all times. And then lift up. And there we've got the beautiful wet wings. Now what I am going to do, I like to introduce a bit of fun in my cards, and we've got a lovely couple of stamps called Fairy Ladders. And I thought it would just be fun to add a ladder. So if I look, that's more or less there. But if there was a gap, we have black lovely micron fine liner pens. You would just gently fill in that little gap. And I'm going to, at the base, Tracy's given us these lovely dots here, look. So just so it looks like it's part of the design, I'm just going to put a couple of dots there. Now, I haven't altered the ladder design, so I'm not altering Tracy's, but I'm just adding a little bit to make mine look that bit better. Now we can come in with our circle mask, and we'll also bring in our mini hill masks. So I did a video the other week on how to make a scene using these, so we can use that. I tend to turn my work, just find it easier for me. Pixie Green again. Right, various shapes. I'm going to go for the flatter one first, and I'm going to put that under the ladder because that's the lowest point where I've got a focal point. Blend in the lid, and always start under your focal point. Again, you've got most ink on, and I know I keep saying that, but sometimes the more you do something repeated, it becomes second nature then. So if you look, where I start off, it's darker. That just looks like shadow from the fairy wings and the ladder. Now, if I put that straight away there, it won't look as nice because it's exactly the same design. So let's look for our next one, which is that sort of shape, a slight sort of curve. So let's see, can I catch both those? I can. So I've only inked up a little. I want this to be lighter to help with perspective. So I'm not pressing on as hard. It's very much a gentle. Again, I'm going to take that away, and I've got that shape. So we'll come in with the next one, and I'm going to look for, and remember you can alter the angle. So I'm thinking, do you know what? I'll go for something like that. So again, I've not inked up, and I'm just going to go around the wings. Just gently around them. Now, what I tend to do is get my moon mask and decide where I'm going to put it. And that will alter where I have this last hill. And if I show you on here, it looks nice if you mirror that shape, that you've got the moon there and the hill there. It just looks nicer. It's more appealing to the eye. So what I can do, look, is now I'm going to have to turn mine round because this is just the way I work. So if I'm going to put that, say, there. So I want, and remember, I'm going to do the grass. So if I put that there, and don't worry about that bit over there. So if I put that shape there, I can have my moon there. And I just want it over the wet wings. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So I'll come in, I've not added any more ink because again, I want this to be lighter just so it shows it's in the distance. And there we go. I've got those lovely hills. So I'll turn that round. And this is why I need to clean this every time I use it because I don't want to contaminate with another colour. So I turn it upside down, bring in the blue Atoll. And yes, for those of you that ask, I do have a different brush, one for blue, one for green. I just find it easier for me. I don't have one for each of the blues. I just have one for blue. So this I will use for Della Blue, Blue Atoll, Mermaid. So again, blend in the lid, tap on the mask and then start at the bottom, gently, gently. And that just when you gently, you get to see how much colour. And remember, if your ink pads are new, they'll be very juicy. So do make sure you blend in that lid. And then I can come out, look. When I'm happy, well, in general, when I like what I've got there, I can come in and from the corner, and I just find it easier again when I've got most ink to come in from that corner. There's nothing worse than re-inking, going into the middle and having lines. And those of you that have been crafting for a while, I know you've done it. We've all done it. I tend to leave a little bit of white here. Two reasons. One, I don't want my blue and my green ink to mix. But also, I think it almost looks a bit like there's light on the horizon. And for me, it just gives it just that extra touch through leaving something off. Now, when you're doing your sky, what's absolutely lovely, and seriously, dead easy, but so effective, Flying Fig. Yes, I call it Flying Pig, so I have to remember if I've called it the right name, so sorry. Blend in the lid. And again, just start in this corner so you can see how much ink you've got. Gently, gently, we're just going to blend a little bit of ink across here. And we're going to take a cloud right across that moon, look. And it is a gentle, just tickle. And then go into this corner. If you want a bit more ink, I'm picking a bit up from the lid. But again, I'm starting in the corner and working my way back. And there we go. For me, that lovely cloud across gives a little bit more atmosphere. You could leave it like this, but I think a little bit more stamping. So we'll come in at the top with the black. Now again, look through your stamps. I bet you've got trees, you've got leaves. This is the vine branch, and I love it when stamps, they don't just have one use. So this, we stamped the owl. I think we used it last week, did we, for the owl? Do you know what, my memory? Well, I think we did, because it also makes a beautiful tree, but it's lovely just to add as foliage, look. And if you want a little bit more down the side, look, you can just come in and catch that side. And I think we'll just catch that side there. And then at the base, the orchard grass. See if we can get rid of this here. Do you know what? One of my most used stamps, field and orchard grass. And we're just going to go on these two corners again. Lovely cohesive design. We don't want too much, don't want a pizza. But what we can do is first, second and third generation. So we don't re-ink, but it gives us that lovely depth and perspective. So let's see what we can do here. First, second, third, fourth. Yeah, happy with that. I'll take that. And then all I'm going to do is add a little bit of colour to the wings. Best tip I can give you here, kitchen roll, just to lean on your work. I've got Modulars pencils. And all I'm going to do is nice and gently just add some colour. Now, you will take your time. And these are green to bring in those tones from the grass. And for me, when I got to this stage, it just needed something else. So that's where my lovely butterflies came in. Now again, with the butterfly, I've got choices. I can either stamp it in the moon. Now, if you're not sure, again, that's where the acetate comes in. So get your acetate and look, I could stamp it there, but I think it's too near. I think it looks nice there. But again, use your acetate. Have a look and you decide. Might be you want a couple of butterflies. So I'm going to put mine there. Part on, part off. Last little finishing trick, some little white highlights. And again, this is just our lovely Signo, the white pen. You could use your Posca pen. Again, pen of your choice. If you want to add the water splats in the sky like we did last week. Like I say, the things that you can do, you have got so many choices. And it's lovely as we work through our designs, you'll see that all these choices, everything comes together. But it all started by just that lovely circle acetate mask. So there's the design that we created today. And I hope you have a go at this. And as I say, even if you're one of our lovely friends that have crafted for many, many years, have you got this stamp? It's a lovely design. Or do you fancy having a go at a wreath? Now, I have actually had 2 ladies message me and say they've started on the Christmas cards for next year. So, and there, we've just got a reminder, you can make the sun. So it might be you could start on next year's Christmas cards. Well, whatever you're going to do, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope you're enjoying our little Tuesday catch-ups where we just go through a little bit of technique and then create a project. As always, I look forward to hearing your feedback. If there's anything you want to know, just pop us a comment. We're more than happy to answer any questions. You take care. I'm off now for that cheeky brew and biscuit. I think I'm going for a nice coffee today. And I've got some nice gluten-free angel cakes in, so I think I'm just going to treat myself to one of those. You take care. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.